Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling a pretty massive leap forward in daily productivity, and that is Claude Cowork. Look, if you've ever felt that absolute cognitive drag of having, a dozen browser tabs open just to get an AI to help you draft an email or read a PDF or analyze some data, you know exactly the friction I'm talking about. You end up with total tab fatigue, losing your train of thought somewhere between a local Word doc and a random browser window. Well, we are finally moving past the era of the isolated chatbot that's just confined to the web. Today, we're looking at a unified desktop AI workspace, one that integrates directly into how you actually work and totally eliminates that exhausting context switching. Okay, let's dive into this and see exactly how this tool modernizes the daily grind.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the desktop AI workspace, automating multi-step workflows, built for your profession, impact on real work, and lifetime AI resources.
Section 1. The desktop AI workspace, ending copy and paste friction.
Okay, so the biggest pain point with early AI adoption has always been fragmentation, right? You've got your actual work sitting in folders on your computer, but your AI is sitting over there in a totally separate window. And honestly, bridging that gap manually is exhausting. Claude Cowork fundamentally solves this because it's a desktop AI tool. It lives exactly where your work lives. It can access your local files, automate multi-step workflows, read your documents, and create new materials entirely natively. Just think about the traditional routine for a second. You open a PDF, highlight a section, hit Command-C, toggle over to your browser, hit Command-V into a chat box, type out a prompt, wait for the response, copy it, and paste it all the way back into your Word document. It's a nightmare for your flow state. By bringing the workspace right to your desktop, this tool completely bypasses that friction. It takes the abstract magic of AI and grounds it into a tangible, seamless solution. It's not just a chat interface waiting for you anymore, it's a functioning workspace that literally reaches into the files you're actively working on.
Section 2. Automating multi-step workflows, seamless execution.
Now that the AI is actually on your desktop, what can it do? Well, these core capabilities fundamentally bypass all those traditional manual constraints we just talked about. Because it resides right on your local machine, it can access your local files directly. No more uploading 10 different PDFs one by one to some third-party server. It reads complex documents natively, right where they sit. Then, it can create brand new materials based on those docs and execute complex tasks seamlessly. This is fundamentally different from a browser AI. A standard browser chatbot is kind of like a brilliant brain stuck in a jar on a shelf. It only knows what you spoon-feed it through a tiny text box. But a desktop workspace like this, it's like giving that brain a pair of hands. It can open up your digital filing cabinet, pull out the folders it needs, analyze the context across multiple documents at the exact same time, and synthesize all of that into something entirely new. Instead of you playing the busy middleman between your own hard drive and the AI, the software just bridges the gap itself, keeping your workflow totally fluid. Let me walk you through a really specific pro tip from our source material because it illustrates this automation perfectly. Imagine you're running a weekly project sync, and you need to compile updates, grab action items, and generate a client-facing report. You can actually automate this entire chain. Step 1. You just provide Claude Cowork with a link to your existing Notion template. Step 2. You instruct Claude to follow the complete workflow outlined in that specific guide. And Step 3. Claude executes the process step by step based on your instructions. So in practice, this means the AI looks at the template, grabs the necessary local data from your meeting transcripts or your notes, populates the required fields, drafts a summary, and formats it exactly the way you want. You aren't micromanaging every single prompt or fixing formatting piece by piece. You are setting a high-level framework, establishing the rules, and just letting the AI execute the whole multi-layered workflow. It shifts your job from being a micromanager of tiny tasks to an editor of high-quality outputs, a real game-changer.
Section 3. Built for your profession, tailored AI guides.
So having a smart AI is incredibly useful, but having a smart AI that actually understands the specific nuances, the jargon, and the compliance requirements of your daily job, that is absolutely massive. Claude Cowork acts as this central hub, but it branches out into highly specialized nodes depending on exactly who is using it. You've got setups tailored for an accountant, an attorney, an academic writer, a data scientist, a business lawyer, the list goes on. This captures a staggering scale of customization. As you can see, this is definitely not some generic one-size-fits-all chat tool. It's an AI workspace supported by a growing collection of guides designed specifically for the unique demands of vastly different professional fields.
To put that into perspective, there are proven AI-powered workflow guides for over 100 specific professions.
And the granularity here is genuinely surprising and honestly kind of amusing. We aren't just talking about a broad business guide here. We're talking about highly specialized workflows for an asylum and humanitarian law attorney, or a cost accountant, even a gastroenterologist, or a civil engineer. The fact that a gastroenterologist has a bespoke AI workflow guide ready to go really highlights just how deeply specialized this whole ecosystem has become. It's entirely about focusing on what matters in your specific industry, speaking your language, and adhering to your standards. Section 4. Impact on real work. Micro-narrative showcases.
All right, let's take this massive scale and narrow it down a bit. Let's look at a day in the life of a few distinct knowledge workers to see how this impacts real daily tasks. It's actually fascinating to see how the exact same underlying tool produces such wildly different, highly specialized outcomes. If you're a lawyer, Claude basically acts as a tireless paralegal for you. You're using the workspace to automate deep dive research into precedents in case law. For analysis, you're having it ingest massive contracts to flag liabilities or weird non-standard clauses. And for reporting, it's generating the foundational drafts of your legal briefs. But if you're an accountant, the AI pivots entirely. It's not looking at legal precedent, it's tracking dense regulatory updates. For analysis, it's doing financial forensics, scanning through thousands of rows in your local spreadsheets looking for anomalies, missing data, or spending trends. And then for reporting, it's synthesizing all that into crisp, clear audit summaries. Then you have the writer. They're using the tool to automate sprawling literature reviews across dozens of local documents. They use it to identify thematic structuring across chapters, which drastically speeds up manuscript drafting. The AI adapts seamlessly to the workflow of the professional rather than forcing you to adapt to the limitations of the AI.
So why does this all matter for you? Well, because regardless of whether you're the lawyer, the accountant, the writer, or any of those other 100-plus professions, the ultimate tangible benefit is exactly the same. You save hours of manual work and drastically improve your output consistency. It automates the tedious research, the heavy data analysis, the initial documentation, and that boring, repetitive reporting. By offloading all that heavy lifting, it frees up your cognitive bandwidth for the high-level, strategic thinking that actually moves the needle in your career. Ultimately, it helps you produce higher-quality outcomes way faster and for sure with significantly fewer errors.
Section 5. Lifetime AI Resources. The Gumroad Packages.
Now that we understand the sheer value of this workspace and these specialized guides, how do you actually access this whole ecosystem? Well, when you access these resources through their Gumroad package, the membership actually includes access to over 500 premium AI resources. This includes all those specific profession guides we just talked about. What this means in practice is that you aren't just getting a tool for the job you have today, you are tapping into a massive library of workflows. So as you grow, as your team expands, or as you start taking on new cross-disciplinary projects, the frameworks and resources are already there, just waiting for you to deploy them. And from a purely analytical standpoint, the pricing model here is quite distinct from industry norms. It utilizes a one-time payment for lifetime access with zero recurring fees. In an era where the standard SaaS model heavily relies on trapping you in monthly subscriptions, this offers a highly predictable alternative. You make a single payment, you acquire the desktop workspace guides, you get the specialized workflows, and you have those 500-plus premium resources indefinitely. It allows you to invest in your own productivity infrastructure and stay ahead in the AI era with a clear, fixed cost. Pretty refreshing, right?
So I want you to look at your own desk right now. Look at the tasks you have scheduled for tomorrow. Which of your daily workflows are you going to automate first? Is it going to be that massive document review that always takes 3 hours? The complex financial reporting? Maybe some deep dive competitive research? The capabilities are sitting right there, built specifically for your profession. It's really just a matter of deciding where you want to win back your time. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.